And thank you so much for joining me on this second episode of the Untold story. Today, I'm so delighted and glad to be speaking to one of the most influential young women we have in Uganda, Jackie Arinda. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
You're welcome.
It's really a pleasure coming here to see you at your home. Most of us will not feel comfortable bringing people in our homes, but thank you for allowing us into your house.
It's my pleasure, and I hope that, like you said, being influential, I hope this this interview inspires and motivates someone outside there.
I'm really hoping so, and I know it will inspire them. So you recently celebrated your birthday. I know this is a question that most women don't want to hear. How old are you?
Now, about my age, actually, it's one of the things that I wanted to talk about even here. When you ask me about my age, most people, when I mention it, they'll be like, and you're not married? And you have no kids yet?
I'm actually surprised that people ask you that, because I'm thinking like you're 21, 20.
In fact, let's go with 21. But actually, I'm 991. I'm 991, and Feb being my birth month. So I clocked 29.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Where did you grow up?
Growing up, I can say it's a bit tricky for me to answer that, especially if you're from Africa, because you have to grow up, maybe I can say being an orphan, total orphan, I had to grow up in different homes. So I remember growing up, I was in Kampala, and then the person I was staying with, my grandfather passed on, and I didn't know. I just actually came to realize that the reason why I moved from Kampala to Mbara was because my grandfather passed on. So from Entebbe, Kampala, then to Mbara, up to I think P7. That was Mbara Mixed. I attended Mbara Mixed Primary School. And then after that, because of so many, I think, series of things that happened by then, we could not stay in Mbara, and then we shifted to Uganda, Nyabushche. And I had to go to Chivora Girls for my secondary.
Well, it turns out we come from the same village.
Yeah.
Anyway, so how challenging was going to school through all this movement? You're from Entebbe, now Kampala, Mbara, then to Uganda. How challenging was this for you as a child and as an orphan?
I think being a child is kind of important, and sometimes I wish I can have that mind like a child. Like, you don't care, all you care about is playing around. So you don't actually, from the age of, I think, when you're born, and then up to like 10 or 15, you don't know what's going on. And you don't take things seriously, because they're happening and you think that's how the world is supposed to be. So by then I was a child, and I had this caring grandmother and family. So by then things were moving on well. But I think when I clocked 14, 13, that was during secondary when I moved, because Mbara was okay. Yeah, my primary times were okay. I could not notice. Only that when I grew up and I flash back, I'm like, wait a bit, did that happen to me? Yes, so it was, I came to know that I was a total orphan at the age of, I think, 16 or 17. Yeah, because this is something that I appreciate that they did. I had a dad whom I call a dad, even up to now, whom I call a dad, and he happens to be my mother's brother. So when I grew up at 16, and so many kids asking me, even my cousins asking me, but how come your dad is your mom's brother? Who are your parents? So I grew up on my mother's side. I got to know my father's side when I was 20. Yeah, when I was 20, 21, around there. But what is not about to tell you the difficult part of it, is to tell you that I went through it, and if you're there, you can also
losing
go.
Your friends, because each time you move as a child, you make friends. Then the next month they say, we're moving, you have to make new friends. I find that so challenging, because recently I was talking to my daughter, and I told her, I'm going to move you to a different school for top class, and she said no.
I can't
leave my friends. I need my friends.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at a child having to move from district to district, school to school, making friends here. The next day you're making different friends. Has that affected you later in your adult life? Trust issues?
Now, I think me being at that point is that those who know me, I can fit in any circle, I can fit anywhere. But the movement was mostly for holidays. But the schools didn't change because like primary I was in one school and secondary I was like in two schools. And but like you said, some of the things that affect you while going through all that, I think the hardest part was to accept who you are, and you have to grow. You have to grow. You have to think like a 24-year-old when you're just 17. Yeah. So the school bit and everything was okay, but I think what was challenging was fitting in, being an orphan. Whom do you run to? Like you brought it, trust issues.
Yes.
I've had trust issues even up to now. I usually tell people that I'm more comfortable being alone. But I go out, I interact, I'm a social person, but I don't go beyond that point where you find you want many people to be close to you, many people to know who you are, because I have trust issues. When I was in senior 4, that's when I had a lot of trust issues. Because that's when I had found out that, look here, you have a dad side, because I grew up with my mother's side and everything was there.
So how do you find out?
I think by then I was having issues with my family, my mother's side, and I could feel like I was segregated at every point. I could feel, and God had given me wisdom. I used to perform well in class, but they could not appreciate that. Every time they would be, oh, like she's not a good person. She's what? Then you're the one cleaning. Others are going out to play, you're the one cleaning, and then you're the one, you're calling them for breaks, and you're like, oh, I've put milk or whatever. We at home, we take yogurt like in the middle of the day and anything. So you have to call them. But you are the same age. Okay, you're the same age, and you're the one washing their clothes, you're the one talking to them. Distance within and my family, and there was no one to support me. You get the whole point. And I used to hear, I don't know how other families live, but each parent would support their kid. Every time someone would say, so-and-so is misbehaved, the mother would be like, how dare you talk about my child? Now, who was protecting me? No one. Yeah. And it was too much for me to take in, and I had now my story is very funny in Africa. I can tell you that sometimes I think I have a lot of relatives. My mother, when my mother was also, I don't know how to call it, because they will say, oh, you can't say that on air. Okay, I have about 3 families. Actually, I think there are 4, because my father was out of the wedlock, my mother was out of the wedlock. You get the whole point? Yes. Now, I'm staying with my grandfather, but my grandmother, who is taking care of me, is not my real grandmother, because my
mother to your mother.
Thank you. So, sometime back, my grandmother, my actual grandmother on my mom's side, told me that someday you should go to Uganda. There is a gentleman that was called Namara. I think you need to know him. So I never took it seriously. So when she passed on, it was too much for me, because she's someone who loved me, and even my step grandmother loved me. But I always felt there was distance between us. That's what and that's how I started. I remember looking for my father's side, because they were saying I was the one that was always out of school because of school fees. So I wouldn't love to say that they had money and they didn't take me to school. I really don't know what was there by then. But what I know is that I was getting out of school almost every time and then because of school fees. So I was like...
Do you have siblings?
No, that's why.
Your parents had only just you?
Yeah, my mother, I was the first born and last. And my father, most of the kids passed on because of HIV and because they were with different women.
Yes.
And he was, I think, a Musama because he used to work abroad. And then every time he would come, I think he would have another wife.
Oh.
That's what I thought, because every time they would be like, oh, he had another person. And I was like, I don't want to get attached to that family. How did I know? That was that was my turning point, I think. I had a lot of, I think even being young, and I was so tired. And I was like, I need to know my family, my father's side. And I looked for it. And then I never informed anyone. So I got lost.
So how did you go looking for people you didn't know, going to Uganda where you had never
Yeah,
been?
because they told me, you go to Bisheshe, look for Chara's family. That is the person you're looking for. And when I went there, they told me they had passed on. And that's how I come to my father's side.
Did they like welcome you and say, you know, we know you, you're a child, you stay?
Yeah, they did. Most of them, they were like, what? You know how Banyankole be. They're like, oh, you resemble your father. Oh, you resemble your father. And then I was like, okay,
So
let's talk.
Let's do DNA and
yeah, they were like,
sure.
no. They were like, you resemble your father. And then when I'm on my mother's side, they're like, you resemble your mother. So they take me out. Now, that was senior 5 and senior 6. Now, that was also challenging. Shifting from this family that you have known for years and years. And now you come to this family, they behave totally different. Totally differently.
So how was the transition? How did you tell this other family that I'm leaving?
I didn't.
My dad.
I woke up and left, and they looked for me. And when I found them, I came back home and I told them. They said, where were you? You got lost and then we don't know, and you baggy-headed and everything. And then I was like, I found out my father's side. Then they're like, how did you? How? Because they had never sat me down to tell me, look here, Jackie, your mother is this person.
They knew.
Yeah, they do.
Side, but they
Yeah, they did.
to tell you.
Yeah, they never told me, and I guess they were protecting me because this other side of the story, it went so bad. Because I moved in with my uncle, and he had sisters, and they behaved totally differently. That I can tell you, Sarah, totally differently from what I knew, and it affected me. Because at home, I wouldn't say that I was lazy. I was, the way they treated us, used to do house care and everything, but there was no pressure. Now, I move into this family where they say, oh, maid, go home.
Oh,
Jackie's here. And she has to cook. And my uncle had just married a Uganda woman. And she was humble, she was good. And she needed also to understand, she was also learning how Banyankole behave or something. Now I have her, and
it's just the two of you.
We don't understand each other.
Oh.
Because she's, oh, you have to cook, you have to iron, you have to do that. And I'm like, wait a bit.
I'm not a maid.
I'm like, oh, Jesus. No, you can't say that. But inside you're like, I'm not a maid, please. You can't leave me with a child, a newborn child. You have a lot of clothes, I have to feed, I have to change. And even in the middle of the night, you're staying with the child. And in the morning, you have to prepare tea. So it was a lot. This is something I had not grown up with.
In high school.
Yeah, that's holiday part. Now, to cut the whole story short, I didn't feel comfortable in this family. But deep in mind, I knew I have to go to school.
Yeah.
I have to keep in school. That was the fight. From the day I stepped in senior 2 and realized that the whole world doesn't support me and I'm on my own. There is no one that is going to defend Jackie. It's me to defend myself. So I was like, you know what, Jackie? Stay in school. No matter what, stay in school and nail it.
Do whatever they like.
Do whatever they like.
As long as they give you tuition, you're good.
Good. And my uncle loved me and used to take care of me, but was overpowered by the wife because this was a newlywed couple and you don't want to be the one in the middle of it. So good enough, after 2 years, which I tell every young girl, hold on. If they are paying your tuition, if they are taking care of you, no matter what they do to you, just stay in school, finish, because that time will come and you have your own home. And I have my own peace. Yes. I make the decisions. But if I had said, oh, look here, I can't stay in school. Yeah. So I joined campus, and that was the best moment. And now this is interesting. All my life, I didn't know Bishop Stewart University.
Oh. Yet
Yeah.
you had lived in Imbar.
Yeah, and I didn't know about it.
Okay.
And I remember they asked me in senior six, they were like, what would you like to do? And what would you want to study? I mean, your profession. And I told them, I want to be a lawyer because I wanted to protect every orphan. What people don't get is that even if you are staying in a rich family, those people suffer in rich families. They do, but they don't come out. Yes, there is food. Yes, there is, basic needs and everything. But there is no that trust and love. And I know my family will see this, but they need to understand that you can give me everything, but you need to trust me. We need to trust each other. You need to love me, not to pamper me with the gifts, but real love.
I think that's why we actually have so many cases of depression in what we tend to think as rich people's homestead, because there is no love, there is no trust. Parents are not talking to their children.
Guardians.
Yeah, but yeah. Look at when you're from your poor family. Every day your mother is there, your father is there, whether it's not.
And they love you genuinely.
Yes, they talk to you. Whatever you do, they will slap you. Whatever will happens. But here you are in a home that is not your father and mother, and no one is even caring to know.
And you have to prove them every single day.
Yeah.
You wake up, you have to prove to them. You mop the house, you clean, you wash their clothes, you smile with them. And then guess what? You're in the corridor.
Deep down, you're crying.
Yeah,
and
you're
there is
crying.
no one to talk to.
No, the only person that is left to talk to you is the maid. And the maid understands you. I can tell you, I used to cry and the maid is still there. She's called Alice. Alice used to be there for me. She used to tell me, Jackie, you need to fight hard. And even cattle keepers, you can imagine me sitting with cattle keepers. And then they tell you, you know what, so-and-so was talking about you, that you're bad, that you're ill-mannered and everything. So what I'm trying to say is you go through a lot behind those gates, inside those gates and everything, and posh houses. The children there. And you cannot open up. Why? Because every time you open up, someone disappoints you. Why? Because even the maid that listens to you takes back.
To the boss.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, you're being punished because you talked, because you said you're not comfortable with what they're saying. So at the university, the reason why I was saying in Bishop Stewart that I didn't know about it, I thought I would go to Makerere. Yeah. So they asked me, what do you want to do? Yeah. I need to be a lawyer. And they're like, cool, if you do. But at that point, my uncle could not afford, because he was taking care of all of us. It was a lot for him. So when they told me Bishop Stewart, I was like, what is Bishop Stewart?
You thought it was a pity.
But I remember, my cousins were also in Bishop Stewart. So I was like, oh yeah, okay, that's cool. But I wasn't happy. Oh, yeah. But I knew also my uncle could not afford Makerere. But I wasn't happy. That doesn't mean that. But
at least you were getting something.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're done with senior six and they say, you know what, we're done. Please take yourself through the next level.
Yeah.
If someone says Bishop Stewart is what is available.
It was a good one. Yeah. So I go to Bishop Stewart. Now, this is something everyone should learn, because I don't know which God that people worship or what, but some things happen because of a reason. So I crossed to Bishop Stewart University, and now I'm staying with my uncle's siblings.
Is this your paternal uncle now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I crossed. We were 4. Okay.
In a hostel?
In a hostel. Okay. In a hostel, and he was trying his level best. Trust me, he did his level best. Now, these are girls. That is where I ask myself, why is it that ladies, we can't support each other? I really don't get it. And every time I see a feminist, I'm like, you should know what you're fighting for. Because if there is anyone to empower a woman, should be a woman.
Yes.
But on the other hand, in front of cameras, we are like, oh, we should support each other. Yeah. Oh, we should do this each other. But we keep our tongues rolling with negative comments to our fellow ladies. Yeah. You get the whole point? So that is why I'm not a feminist. And even when I'm saying I'm supporting a girl child, I'm like, you look here.
I'm doing it as Jackie.
I'm doing it as Jackie. And I don't want you to take advantage. that you're a girl, you're going to fight every single day, saying you're fighting for women, but you are not supporting your sister, you are not supporting your friend. But you come here in newspapers, you come here on social media, trend and do what? But deep down, you know it, you're not supporting your fellow women.
Yeah, when an opportunity comes, the first person you tell is a man. But you
Thank
have
you.
a sister next
You
to
have
you.
a sister. I don't know whether you get it. Yeah. So I move into this hostel with 3 of my uncle's sisters. And we were okay because I can fit anywhere. And actually, I was feeling happy. And now,
finally had a family. And
first year, second year, everything went so bad. And issues of who prepares food, who does what, who buys food, you know that.
Money do we use?
Yeah. who is going to shop?
I stayed with my sister and we used to clash all the time at campus.
About who is shopping, who is cooking. And you know, you even have that, they say, I can say cold air, where you come in and you don't want to talk to anyone, you just want a me time. So we clashed. We clashed, and I can't say why or what, we clashed. And in my 3rd year, now that's where I am telling you, so many things happened because of a reason.
Which course are you doing?
Bachelor's in social work and social administration, which I had no idea, but now I love it because it was the cheapest I could afford, and there was no law in Bishop Stewart. So I remember going through the courses, and then I was like, what is this? Because I was avoiding sciences. Then I was like, there is something like social work. What is that? Then they told me that is the simplest. I'm like, okay, I'm going for that. Now, in my 2nd year, we finished, but we were not all of them. I was just having issues with one of the girls, So I was, I think, a celeb by then. That's what I can call it. Like in town, because I used to enter class, I'm the one who is wearing makeup, I'm the one who is wearing lipstick, I'm the one with heels, with my hair combed, and everyone would be like...
You are a brand.
Yeah, so everyone would be like, okay, why is she like that? Not that I'm saying Bishop Stewart students, but by then my sisters were known, like, because they used to see us from Kampala, you know that Kampala thing, So I was all over. So one of the, I think, boys comes around and is like, Jackie, they're looking for Miss Tourism. You could apply. I'm like, really? I'm like, I like that. And they're like, no, you come. Grabs my hand. We go to Bananuka Drive. There is a hotel, just Pelican.
Yes.
I meet a lady called Stella, and then there was another one. Yeah, they were actually both Stellas. Stella was French, I think, was the one running Miss Tourism. Then there was a coach called Stella. Then they're like, you apply. I'm like, what is it all about? I've never had it. Like Miss Tourism, I've never. And you know Miss Uganda.
We don't even know those things of tourism.
What is that? So they're like, you will win a car. I'm like, okay, you're talking. You should have started with that. Then they're like, you win a trip to South Africa. I'm like, good.
Let's go.
Bring up the forms. Ta-da! I submit. Now, because I knew my family had never believed in me in anything, I never told them. I never told anyone. Because I knew they would say no.
You can't do that.
Yeah, so I apply. We go for boot camp. And in boot camp, I had to work with a team. By the boot camp, you people, you should respect beauty queens. You should respect them a lot. Because it's like
nowadays it's agriculture. Do you guys go and dig? Do you keep animals?
It's a lot, Sarah.
What happens?
It's a lot. Like,
without you just go there and be told how to do catwalk.
No. I don't know Miss Uganda, maybe they do that. But Miss Tourism, darling. But I think even Miss Uganda, they do the same. But Miss Tourism is more of brains. Because they're asking you how many birds fly to Uganda during winter. And the species. They even ask you history, culture, everything. You have to have it on at your fingertips. And then
There is a lot of research.
There is a lot of research. There is a lot of reading, and also it's like Big Brother. You have to deal with everyone. If I told you to smile right now for nothing, it would be hard for you.
But you'd have to smile.
Yeah, you're like every time sit up. Oh yeah. Even when they have annoyed you, no,
you
you don't smile for camera. In the boot camp, it's 24/7. You're like this, chest up, chin up, and then remember Sarah has annoyed you. You know how girls be. Sarah has annoyed you, but you have to. So there is no fighting. There is no quarreling. Basically, you're plastic. But one thing it teaches you is that to let go. In the boot camp, I go through that, but then I had to tell my family. Yeah, so I told them. They would have found because the newspapers were all over. They had already posted everything and pictures and what, and now I'm in a swimsuit, so I have to defend myself why I'm naked in the newspapers. So, and surprisingly, they were okay with it. So I go through the boot camp, and now here comes the final day. Believe me, every little girl, you need to love yourself. You need to stand up for yourself. You need to protect everything that you're doing, because no one will do that, Sarah. And one thing I've learned, stop feeling like everyone should do something good for you.
Someone owes you something.
No.
Everyone owes you something.
I got on the stage, and guess what? Now, just to give you just some tips, when they are, what they do in most pageants, they read from, I think, from like, they have top 10, top 10, then top 7, then, top 5, top 10, top 5, and then top 3. So, top 10, I was the last one. They start, I can say the first, because they read, like, the first one is so-and-so, second, third, I was the 10th. Now, when I went back, I was like, you know what, you're not going to make it. Then, one of my sisters said, anyway, just get on the stage, smile, do it, whatever. You have already lost anyway.
Now they are supporting you?
Yeah, they were there, they came. They're like, whether you lose or what, you're on that stage. Yeah. Own it, play around, anyway. Let's go. We are here. In fact, he told me, we shall go dancing, because I used to love to dance, and up to now I love to dance. So when I went back on the stage, I was not caring about what they're asking. I would answer, I would smile, and go. Top 5, I was the last.
You're the 5th?
5th. So I was like, you know what? This is a dead end. Yeah. And I remember they asked me, they're like, the judge said that if you, the last question for someone to step in, they say, if you know you're my namesake, step in front. And I did. But I didn't know her name. And guess what? She was called Jackie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She was called Jackie. And I didn't know, but with that confidence, I stepped in front. So you could not take me back. Yeah, so I go through, then they announced the top 3. By then, I remember when we went behind, the makeup artist was trying to work on my face. I was like, anyway, I'm not the queen, so let me be. Anyway. And they announced me, and I was Miss Tourism. I was like, Miss Tourism Ankole?
You were the first, you were the winner.
The first Miss Tourism Ankole. Wow. And they called my name like, I think twice or thrice. I was not
You're not sure, you're like...
No, I didn't know, because I was looking at my sister. She was in the audience and making some funny faces to keep me smiling, because maintaining a smile. And then they have those long speeches. I wish pageants can stop people from talking. Those politicians talk, you're in a 6-inch, and then you're having a fake smile, standing. And there is an AC to the extent your teeth dry up. You have to keep, okay. Every time, you know. So I win. And I can tell you, Miss Tourism is the reason why I'm who I am right now. So when I won Miss Tourism...
What happens now? Do you leave Bishop Stewart?
No.
Do you go back to class?
And I got a retake for that. Yeah.
Did you get your car on the trip to South Africa?
Now that's another story. I'm telling you, Uganda, you need to be polite because I win. And now the question is, what next?
Next, yes.
And in fact, when I see those pageants, I'm like, you participate, but you need to take it up. It's any platform, you need to use it. So I win, and everyone was, then Prince Wasage crowned me, and everyone now wanted to take a picture with me. And then family, everyone was like, congratulations, that's our girl.
Yes.
I'm like, yes, I'm your girl.
Everyone owns you.
Yeah, it brings me, you know, this new song of Jose Chameleon, Baliwa. Yeah, I'm like, okay, but I had no time for grudges, so I was excited and self-motivated, and now I knew that I'm a winner. Yeah, I felt like I'm a winner. Then I go back to school, everyone was like, that's Mistress. I'm like,
yeah. Go back to that hostel, no? Mistress.
Yeah.
Staying in that.
I'm telling you, everyone was like, that's Mistress. And I'm like, that's so good. But I was broke.
No cash,
yeah.
No trip to South Africa.
And you have to have your hair neat, you have to have your nails worked on, and then you have to look, you know, like a Miss Tourism. You get it?
So there is no one sponsoring you to keep the beauty queen status?
No. The day you win, that's the day. Because for them, they have already collected money for the, I mean, it was an event, like another chivulu. Should I call it a chivulu? So it's a chivulu. In most cases, you don't even have transport home.
They start organizing the next year's pageant.
Yeah. Wow. And they start calling you. Oh, you have to appear on whatever the president is opening. Oh, there is this and this and this. Oh.
And they don't send you transport
allowances? Nah. But there is a gentleman, the owner of Embassy Hotel, Mr. Kasyamara, was the sponsor. He supported me all through. Because I used to I would move and go to Coca-Cola and say, hello, Coca-Cola, I've come to visit with my sashion and my crown on. Now that's the confidence I need every girl to learn and to take up. So yes, the pageant was done. I even came from Miss Tourism Uganda, and I can't say much about Miss Tourism Uganda. I didn't make it. And for certain reasons, that when I go to a pageant discussion, I would just say that the pageants, they need to also work on that. But I didn't win, then I go back. Now I have to serve as Miss Tourism and college so that I deliver, because you're expected to promote tourism. So
what exactly is your role? Showing up to events?
You have to do a project. I did mine. It was a marathon to raise funds for the for Nyamtanga Children's Hospital, and which was a success. Yeah, but because of some of politics and everything, I had to put it down. That was supported by Stella. That was like our manager, and she was good, but she also needed assistance. The government doesn't do that, so I could understand. So you're also supposed to promote tourism in a way that you're supposed to speak out, you're supposed to visit these people, you're supposed to actually also inform them how best they can work on their bottlenecks, and, you know, connect them to the government, because the minister is also busy, so you are like an ambassador. So I do all that work. Now, when I'm doing this, I was all over. I was all over newspapers. School. Yeah, I still had schools. I remember I used to go for these events. They call you, you're from Bara, I need to get on a bus, come. And then the transport, you will find it in Kampala. Oh, yeah. But the transport for within Kampala to the venue, not from wherever you're coming from, no. So I call it a celeb. And then I had classes. You have to go back on a bus. Now remember, most of the people that had contested were from Kampala. I think I was the only one from Bara that was staying in Bara. Most of them were
living in Kampala.
No. I mean Miss Tourism Uganda. Because they had regional queens. So most of the regional queens were from Makerere, UCU, so they were within Kampala. So me, I had to come. And that's, I think, what made me who I am, because everyone knew that I was a hardworking lady, and I became more popular. Yeah, I even used to joke around, and I'm like, if I die right now, try me. My burial would be so big. So in that, while I was looking for projects to work on, submitting my projects to Mbara City Council and everyone, Mr. Kafoko by then was, I think, on a committee for Mbara Business something. They have an association. So I presented my proposal. It didn't go through, you know, politicians. Yeah, but later Fred was like, could you come for an interview in the evening to the Radio Vision Radio? Then I came for the interview. So when I was there, he said, no, keep talking. Could you please carry on the whole show? And I did. And I was like, you're so good with radio. Can you start working? I'm like, when? It's like, try this week and I see. And I was good. And I had audience and everyone was there. So it's like, can you work for 400,000? That's too much money for me. I'm like,
that's your first job.
Yeah. I'm like, yes, of course. So now I became a cupcake. Yeah, because I was on radio, I was Miss Tourism, and I was all over. Trust me when I say all over, I was all over. I don't want to go to that other side because I want every girl to be inspired by this story, not to make the same mistakes that I made. But I was all over everyone. Trust me, I would read tabloids and I'm like, which Jack are they talking about? Because I'm not the one they found in Vegas. Yes, I go to Vegas, but I'm not the one they found in Vegas. So there were so many stories. And now my family was all like, no, this is too much.
Your uncle is still paying your tuition?
Yeah, he was happy about it. He was happy about it, and everyone was like happy. We have a Miss Tourism. Come on, who doesn't want to have a Miss Tourism? Yeah. So, but at this point now I clashed with my sisters so much. Yeah, because they started talking about me. They are also like tabloids. But there was one sister that I fell out with. Not all of them. They were 3, but 1. So, you know what I told them? Now they're going to know the truth. I told them, you know what, Miss Tourism is paying for my rent. I have a house. That's how I moved out. Because by Nyankole, a girl cannot move out and stay alone. So it's not accepted. So I had to lie to my family that, look here.
I got a sponsor.
No, I was like, Miss Tourism is sponsoring me. So, because I wanted peace. By the time I moved out, we were not talking. And my family was also not protecting me because my uncle was listening more to his sisters.
I mean, there are 3 or 1.
So I was like, I won't fight with them. So what I have to do is
move out.
To move out. And when I moved out, everything went back to normal. So I moved out, and I remember I moved out with just a mattress, and then I bought just 2 cups, plastic cups. But I was like, I'll survive. Kama mbaya ni mbaya.
So you're using now your salary from radio to pay your rent?
Yeah, to pay my rent. And now I started thinking like your mother or any other person, because you have bills to foot. But during Miss Tourism, I also had money because I used to move to places, they would pay me. Me to appear in your place, you pay. Yeah, me to speak to you people, you pay. Yeah. You pay. There was nothing like you come here and talk. So, yeah. So I become Miss Tourism. Now I'm also working at the radio. So it was big. And everyone was like, oh, Jackie, you're a celeb. Jackie, you're a celeb. Oh, yes, I did mistakes. But at that point, I was like, you know what? You need to grow. So that's when I started like using my salary to help out other kids. I would go to orphanages, like support some kids, take up some kids and pay. Like that. So I started growing, and everyone, that's why I said everyone has a turning point. And everyone has, there is a reason why things happen. Because if I had not gone to Bishop Stewart, remember I looked at Bishop Stewart, yes, my career would be competing with slay queens that are well off, and I would not win. So that is why God put me in Bishop Stewart. And after Bishop Stewart becoming Miss Tourism, I'm now a radio presenter. Now from a radio presenter, by the way, when I went to Bishop Stewart, the first thing I did was to go to TV West to look for a job. They said no.
Could you even speak good Runyankore? That's
yeah.
one of the things I failed.
Really?
I speak very, very perfect Runyankore, but if you put me like on TV, even when I worked on radio in Imbaria, I worked on an English station. I couldn't. Because
Runyankore, yeah.
Speaking Runyankore for a whole hour is...
Now, surprisingly at home, you have to speak Runyankore.
All through.
All through.
But and even in front of a camera and you're like, then you start mixing English
with Runyankore.
And now you put in even some Uganda and people will say, okay,
I know. So TV was standing me down. That was 2012. Now I'm a celeb.
Oh yeah.
So some friend of mine called Moses was actually a Facebook friend. People get friends.
Yes.
And I had never met him, I remember. I'd never met him, but was like, hey, girl, because I was everywhere. It's like, hey, girl, could you apply? Because they have some vacancies here. I applied, and I went through. And I was the first news midday bulletin anchor. Because that's when they had, that's when they had brought Agi Hangwe. So you can see there's so many things that put things
And
together.
you're still on radio?
I was on radio, but I have to leave because Vision Group, you have to.
You couldn't work.
Yeah.
I remember that where I was working on a different radio station, we had like 2 or 3 people who used to work on TV West, and they were told to either quit the TV and keep the radio, or quit the radio and keep TV.
Because that's the policy. So I applied and went through.
And quit radio now.
Yeah, because that was my dream, working on a TV. And of course TV, everyone wants to work on TV. So I joined, and I'm doing the midday bulletin. And things keep changing now, but by then I had even bought a car, I think. Yeah, I had bought a car, so I was okay. I was okay.
Have you graduated?
No.
At that point?
No. By then, that's when I got a retake. I told you I got a retake
so
in my 3rd year.
So you had to wait another year.
And and it was all over.
What was your uncle thinking at this point?
Yeah, because we had fallen out even with my family by then.
So
we had started having issues. Yes, he was paying, but he had, one of his sisters was feeding him with information, and people were talking, and people were like, oh, Jackie is spoiled. Jackie, you see, she's all over. You know, those things they talk about girls. And please, let me tell you one thing. If you are outside there and you're the one who is calling someone's daughter a prostitute, someone's daughter, you know, a drug dealer or something, because there was a lot that was passing through. Oh, Jackie sleeps around. Oh, Jackie does that.
Where
oh,
did
Jackie
she
that.
get the car?
Where did she, how did she get that job? Where is she? What is she doing? Now, me, I would be like, you know what? If you think sleeping with men, or if you think that I am on drugs, or if you think I'm going dancing, you can imagine they could complain about some things I don't understand. Because I used to go dancing, which is very normal. You get the whole point? Yes, and they would be like, oh, she goes a lot, she happens a lot and everything, and she forgets to work. Now I would ask my sisters, look here, I'm not the one performing poorly here. So I even told my uncle, I perform well. Yes, it is true, I go out, but stop attaching things I don't understand, that you spoiled. I don't understand. Then
I usually say, when someone says she's a prostitute, she got that job because she slept with someone, or she's doing drugs, that's why she's like this. I say, you try it also.
And tell me if it works.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Let's see how it ends up for you.
Yeah, wouldn't you like my life? I would ask them, don't you want a car? Don't you? But it can't work that way. And that is why women need to support each other. Because it can't work that way.
And you never know, if you're supporting me and there is something coming my way, I would say, you know what, I have a sister who can do this. But if we are not talking, that means I'll have to look outside and get someone else to come and do that. So now, how do you get to Kampala?
So I'm on TV West, and